Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Military Mondays. If you and I don't know each other, I am retired Major Brenda Sanchez, and I am the co-founder of Life's Real Currency with my husband, Michael Sanchez. And we help businesses stay top of mind with their clients so they don't end up out the back door to their competition. And every single Monday morning, I bring you Military Mondays at 8 a.m. like clockwork. This morning, we're a little bit late on the clockwork, but that's all right because we're out of the service now and we can be a little bit slack. But I like to interview veteran business owners or spouse of veterans that own their own business so that I can get the word out about them. So if you fit that category, we need to have a conversation. So private message me and we'll see if you'd be a good fit. But enough of that. I want to get to my amazing guest that I have on today. Kip and I met 2 or 3 months ago. He's out of San Antonio. I did get that right. San Antonio, Texas area. And we met through an online networking group. So this shows you the power of online networking right now. So Kip, welcome to my Military Mondays. Thanks so much for being on.
Thanks so much, Brenda. You know, you're so connected. You don't know what city it is of the individual you're speaking with, probably from moment to moment. I'm glad you nailed it.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, it's in Texas. Do I have the right city? So Kip is a Marine because there is no former Marines, but he's former active duty Marine. Served 4 years. So tell us a little bit about your experience in the Marines. Maybe even tell us why the Marines.
Right. Well, that's an interesting question. You know, I was out of high school and I was kind of working by myself, just on some small jobs, just out of high school, because I knew I did not have the discipline to go into college and actually produce something of worth and value for the thousands of dollars that it would have cost my parents and myself. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to go take this life thing by the horns and see what I can do. Well, after about a year and not much progress, and probably the second time I couldn't pay my rent, I said, hey, Father, can you take me down to the recruiting station? I want to go check it out. And he said, gladly, because you know I'm not paying for your rent again. I said, yes, Father, I know. And so he joyfully took me there. And we went to the Marine Corps recruiting office first. And there was a female gunnery sergeant there who was very attractive, very fit, very confident, very independent. And she told me how hard it was, but she also painted a picture of how cool it is to say, you are what I'm sharing once you get through boot camp and become a Marine. It's a badge of honor that you get to take with you forever. And I said, oh, that's awesome. And my father said, you want to go check out one of the other branches? And I said, I guess so. So the next branch we went to, Brenda, Air Force. And the recruiter was a little bit different than the recruiter I had just come from. They sold me on how wonderful it was, how much travel you get to do, some of the great locations, an easy boot camp, don't worry about it, just a few weeks. You can go off base for liberty while you're going through boot camp. And it sounded really good, but it didn't sound as adventurous as the Marine Corps was and as challenging, because I knew I needed that discipline. So after that, my father said, well, what branch you want to visit next? I said, no more visiting. We're going back to the Marine Corps and we're signing up. And he goes, okay, very good. So that's exactly what we did. You know, I got into the service, number one, for discipline, number two, for the challenge, and number three, because I wanted to make something of my life. And I knew that I would have that opportunity. And I really wanted to test myself. I knew that I had some individuals throughout my life that were speaking positive potential into me. And I said, I wonder if they're actually right. I felt that they may be onto something, but this would be the true test of, are they accurate and can I meet my potential? So I did, absolutely did. I graduated meritoriously. I was the guide throughout boot camp. I broke my foot, so I was actually there for 5 months doing boot camp, and it kind of became a, you're talking to third person while you're going through boot camp. This recruit requests permission to speak to drill instructor, staff sergeant, whatever. And so it became a second language, and I had so much fun. And there were challenges, and it was difficult, but rising above and just crushing those challenges was just the best thing in the world to me. So I graduated meritoriously. I went to my secondary school. And because I signed up so fast, they gave me administration as my MOS. I thought I was getting aircraft, but it was like that mini category where if you sign up, you may get it, but the broader category was admin. So they kind of led me astray there, but it doesn't matter. But I went in from administration. I was able to go to, I graduated first in my class. So I was the guide in Marine combat training, and then I was the guide in my administrative school. And then I got to pick my duty station. So I went to Iwakuni, Japan. And that was an amazing experience. I was actually out on the flight line guarding the base on the seas in Iwakuni, Japan during the insurgency in Iraq. So that was really cool. We got to run off some fishermen that are too close to the base, and then we stood on the front gate with, a Benelli shotgun and listen to the Japanese people say, "No more war." It was pretty uneventful, but I went there, and then I went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, where the Marine Artillery trains with the Army, and was there for a year and a half. And I met somebody who connected me to the Marine Security Guard detachment. So I went through all of that to get, secret clearance and get over there. And I was in Africa, Pretoria, South Africa for just over a year. So 3 continents in 4 years. And my girlfriend at the time said, "Re-enlist? Oh, sure, you can re-enlist if you want to marry the Marine Corps and not me." I said, "Oh boy." And 14 years later and 4 children later, we're still married, and I think I made the right choice. But
I was going to say, I think you made the right choice.
I'll tell you, I miss the Marine Corps and my brethren every day. And every time something in the news comes up, and every November 10th, 1775, is our birthday, the year before the founding of the United States. So it's a very emotional time for me. So my brothers and sisters in arms, I'm always thinking of you.
No, thank you, Kip. So 4 years, and then your girlfriend kind of gave you the ultimatum, me or them, and you chose her wisely.
Yes.
So what have you done since you got out of the service, and what did you learn in the service that has made you successful in business or in life today?
So great question. Let me start with what did I learn in the service? Okay. And then we'll kind of roll into what I've done since then. So we'll take it kind of out of order from what you asked. But in the service, I learned that it's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know. And if you can align yourself, now it's not just talking yourself into whatever opportunity is there. It's a big part of it, but you still have to earn the respect of that individual you want to get into relationship with, who has the power or has the connections to get you where you want to go. So the first thing I really learned is I need to work super hard and prove to whomever it is, who knows whomever it is that I need to know to advance my career. So that meritorious promotion, I battled for 17 days to keep that guide spot. And once I got it on day 2, then I broke my foot. Well, while I was in the medical platoon for 2 months, I had to battle in the medical platoon with a broken foot to prove that I was somebody that when I got back into training, the drill instructors would want me on their platoon. And that's what happened. It was a lottery when I got back into boot camp and out of the medical platoon. But I think it's, working really hard, keeping your head down, focusing on the goals that you want, and then making sure that you reveal yourself, your potential to whomever needs your skill set. And so that's what I did. I made those relationships. That's how I got on the Marine Security Guard duty at the headquarters in Pretoria, South Africa. Um, let's just say I met some interesting people. I golfed with a Korean diplomat every week. And we had a lot of interesting events and adventures while I was in the Marine Corps, but it's because I worked really hard, physically, mentally, and then developed relationships. So I think that's number one. And as my re-enlistment was a couple months away, and I had to figure out quickly, if I'm going to get out, what am I going to do? So I utilized that knowledge of relationships getting out. I reached out to a buddy of mine who was he's about 8 or 10 years older than me, if I'm not mistaken. And he when I was at church, he gave me advice. And when I was trying to graduate and struggling, he'd give me advice. And I reached out to him again, and he goes, now that you're a Marine and disciplined, come get in the restaurant business. And I said, restaurant business? I don't know anything about it. He goes, exactly. You're going to come help me run restaurants. Because he owned a Cece's Pizza, and he wanted to get a franchise restaurant of his own going. He wasn't sure if it was pizza or whatever. It didn't matter. But he knew that with my discipline and hard work and ability to, present myself well, and I had a decent head on my shoulders, even though I'm a jarhead, he was going to steer me and coach me and mentor me. So that's lesson number 2. Get yourself at least one good mentor that can take you from where you're at to where you want to be, which is my personal mantra. My goal in life is to help anybody get from where they're at to where they want to be. I have several mentors and have had several mentors in my life. A few of them have come and gone. I've added some, and some have moved on to different things. But I have about 3 to 4 mentors at all times. They help me in my personal life. They help me in my professional life. They help me in my married life and being a father. Pretty much encompassing all facets of my life, right? And there's different ones who specialize in different areas. So that's lesson number 2. Get yourself at least one good mentor that has your best interest at heart. So that's what we did. I jumped into the restaurant business, and I was working 100 hours a week. And this guy we opened up a barbecue restaurant, and he still owned a Cece's. So I was running his barbecue restaurant while he was doing pizza. And so it was, and when I say 100 hours a week, I'm saying 100 hours a week, 100 hours for about 5 months. Then it got down to about 85. I learned my wife was pregnant, and I said, well, this can't last forever. And so the opportunity came along where I could get into hotels. And I did. I jumped into a hotel that was rebranding from a Hilton Suites to a Le Méridien property. And I found myself as an assistant front office manager of a hotel after a year of being in restaurants. And I grew. I transferred a couple different locations. I became a consultant. I did quality assurance and brand standards inspections, cleanliness and condition for it's a company that consults with Starwood and Marriott and several other brands. And I traveled the world doing that. I was in Europe. I went to the Middle East. I went to Dubai. It was unbelievable. But then I traveled mostly hotels throughout the United States with Westin hotels, mainly, and Sheraton's were the 2 brands. And then I got recruited off the road to be a director of operations for Hilton in Indianapolis. So I moved. At the time, all of this was in Dallas. And then I had the opportunity to finally move away from family. Not opportunity, but really opportunity to spread my own wings and not rely on, those around us. 2 kids at the time. So director of operations of a Hilton in Indianapolis. And then a year and a half later, that hotel sold, and I had the opportunity to be a general manager at a DoubleTree by Hilton in Chicago, where I was for 4 years. And then I was promoted to the downtown property. Same franchisor owned a Crown Plaza. So I was running a full service Crown Plaza hotels 10 years after I got into the business at the age of 30. Wow. It was quite an adventure for sure. And those skills that I learned in the Marine Corps of aligning yourselves with the right people, working really hard to get what you want. I mean, that's what it's really all about. You have to work hard and then align yourselves with the right people. If you don't know how to speak publicly, start practicing. I would advise those who are looking to grow their presentation skills and just interpersonal skills to get into a group called Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a great organization. It teaches you to take off your fear skin and put on your confident skin and start throwing jabs and hooks. I would say that's how the Marine Corps really tied into what I do today.
And so what do you do today? I kind of put it in the post, but we've talked all about your service career and everything from hotels to restaurants and everything in between. And so you took that service industry and compassion to help others into your own business. And so tell us about that and what you're doing today down in Texas.
Sure. Great question. So, one of the opportunities we have in life is for when something is taken away from you that you really value. It was the Marine Corps for me, and then it was a restaurant job for me, and then it was a hotel job for me. And then I found myself continuing to move to different areas. And that one hotel job that was taken from me turned into quality assurance, and then it turned into general manager of a hotel. And in March of this past year, COVID said, well, we're taking away your hotel career. And I said, oh, okay, what's next? And I got excited. Well, if you think about it, everything that you learn in life leads you to the place where you're at. The tricky part is finding out what to do with it. Well, I had a buddy. He's my best friend. And we've been best friends since we were 12, known each other since we were 10, but it's important that we say that we were officially best friends when we were 12 years old. And Jonathan has had his own story. Jonathan's my business partner. He reached out to me and about 3 years before this COVID event, and he said, hey, I'm in foundation repair. It's an amazing business. There's tons of opportunity. I want you to start one with me. And I said, look, man, hotel life is fantastic. I'm traveling. I'm getting to lead people and 150 people, and it's what I really enjoy. And he's like, okay. So over the 3 years up until the COVID event, he had hit me up a couple times. And as soon as COVID hit, I had a pastor who's also a Marine, former active duty, and I was stressed out in my hotel ownership group. And I was like, they should have done this, or they could have done that. They're not doing this. And he said, you know what, Kip, you've always talked about starting your own business. Why don't you just start your own? And I said, oh, easy said, right? Let me just go talk to an investor about buying a hotel and I'll run it for him and be his sweat equity. No problem. And he goes, I didn't say anything about a hotel. And I said, oh, okay, well, Jonathan has been asking me. So I called up Jonathan. I couldn't even get 3 words out. Hey, about that business. Yes, Kip. Yes, let's do it. And I was like, okay. So he, director of operations of another foundation repair company, he had the opportunity to walk away, and he and I put the financials together, and 44 days later, we were fully funded. Funds were transferred into our business bank account, and 2 days later, I moved my wife and children, 4 of them, to San Antonio.
Wow.
And we started our foundation repair company, and it just took off like a rocket. We had 2 employees, we had 1 welder and 1 guy to operate the actual foundation installation. August 24th, we had our first job. Today, we have 17 employees. We have 17 employees. We have 2 crews. We have 11 guys out in the field, 2 people in the shop. We've got 5 total, if I'm not mistaken, 4 total people working in the office, in an office function. And we have more coming on board. It's been absolutely wonderful. But I look back at what I learned throughout the hotel. I mean, I ran the hotel fully from financials to understanding how to make a bed. Not that I didn't learn that in the Marine Corps, but understanding how to cook. Oh, wait, I was in the restaurant business, so I learned that there too. You know, everything that I had set me up to be successful in hotels. And then I learned how to actually make a dollar out of a few cents in the hotel business, how to actually make profit. So Jonathan knew how to operate foundation repair. He's one of the best ones in San Antonio. What he didn't know is how to how to make a dollar, how to actually make cash flow. And when I say he didn't know, he did, but he didn't understand how to build a budget and actually have cash flow, when to purchase, when to wait, what do I need, what do I want? Those are two different things. And so I learned all of that stuff. I learned, how to have discipline and spending money when you need to and saving it when you don't have to spend it. Because you never know when something's going to happen that's totally going to throw you off the rails. So, so that's what I'm doing today. And we like to say, our goal is to raise the foundations for the generations. We're the repairers of the breach and the restorers of streets to dwell in. It's a Bible verse. We like to call ourselves not a Christian company, but a company run by believers, because our boss is a higher power, and we unashamedly talk about it when we're asked. What does risen mean? Well, it's a lot. It's a double entendre for we literally raise houses, but we raise other foundations. I can't tell you how many times people will just talk to us on the phone or in person, and next thing we know, I'm going through a difficult divorce and just sharing their entire life. And we get to listen and agree with them that it's okay, and we can just be an ear when somebody needs an ear, especially during COVID. And so we like to lift people's spirits just as much as we like to lift their houses. And we'll lift buildings too. But it's a joy. We were on one of our networking group calls, and somebody said what I've always known that I do, but I didn't realize why. I've always said this to my, senior leadership in other organizations. Stop focusing on the money. Stop focusing on the revenue. Stop focusing on how much this person cost or how much labor it's costing us or overtime. I said, start doing the right thing for the right reason, and the money will flow. Well, we've decided to do that. And what this individual said on the networking call is income is merely an outcome of doing the right thing. And I said, that's what I've been saying for years, but I've never heard it that simple in life. So along this short journey of 6 months, it wasn't the right thing for us to do financially to bring on this person or that person or these 2 people or these 3 people at once. But you know what? The right thing for the business was, or these individuals, was to bring them on. They were looking for good work, and we had some work. And then we just said, what does an entrepreneur do? They jump off a cliff and build a plane on the way down. That's what we did. We got the parts for the plane and we jumped off the cliff. And then all these leads came in, and we were able to accomplish, these short-term needs of these homeowners because we had the team ready to go. So, taking risk is tough. It's super tough, but sometimes it's so rewarding. And doing the right thing for the right reason will generate the revenues that you need. So that's what I'm doing now to answer your question, Brenda.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kip. And I was going to ask one final question, but I really think you just said it. But is there anything you want to add? Because I was going to ask you what piece of advice would you give somebody who is 3 to 5 years out? Because you should always plan ahead, building those relationships. I love your whole conversation today because it's all about relationships. And as you know, my husband and I, our book is called Life's Real Currency, Build Your Business on Relationships, a Foundation. Kip does foundations, a foundation for success. So in alignment with each other. So what piece of advice would you give somebody that's getting ready to make that transition. Hopefully they're 3 to 5 years out, but maybe they're in the crash course and about to experience life outside the military. What would you say to them?
Well, I would first say this, when somebody is asking us, what's this foundation repair look like? I say, well, first of all, let's put the fear aside, all right? We lift the fear from people, and then we lift the house. Do not be fearful. Absolutely do not be fearful. There's nothing to fear out here. There's only opportunity to seize. And it comes with reaching out to that person through Facebook, through LinkedIn, through whatever means you have, and start a conversation. You never know where that conversation is going to go. I called my buddy Michael. He's like, oh, you're getting into restaurants. I'm like, okay, let's go. But if I hadn't picked up the phone and called him, I wouldn't know what I was doing next. So number one, build your relationships. Number two, if you don't have a LinkedIn account, get it. Get a LinkedIn account and start networking with as many people as possible that you believe would align with what you want to do in life, not just industry, but maybe a job title you want to seek. If you don't know what your passion is, you need to explore it. You need to figure out how to identify your passion. And there's several resources for that I can share with Brenda, and then we can fire out onto her resource sites so you all have it. But you have to find your fit in what you're going to do. And just because you're passionate about something doesn't mean you're good at it. So first, find your passion, confirm with somebody that you know and trust, not just a friend, because a friend will tell you sometimes what you want to hear, okay? A real friend will tell you, hey, that's not your gift, buddy. You can't sing, okay? I love you, but you can't sing. Okay, so find your fit and then get some testimony from somebody that says, yes, you are so good at that. Push forward with that. Build that LinkedIn account and then ask for referrals from people. They can actually recommend you on LinkedIn. It's a very robust website that you can utilize and a great resource. I've connected with so many people through there, and it's amazing who you know through a mutual connection. And start with Facebook if that's something you're more comfortable with. It's amazing how many mutual connections you will find. And sometimes it's with that individual that you want or that company that you really want to be a part of. So that's probably my piece of advice. Inspire those connections, get on LinkedIn, or utilize what resources you have to start the conversation today. And I'm happy to, discuss further with anybody who is struggling. It sounds easy, but there may be some obstacles to overcome, and I'm happy to share my experience with them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kip, for sharing today and coming on my show. If you could do me a favor and share your contact information, and when we get off the live, if you'd put it in the chat so that people know how to reach out to you, because I highly recommend, even if you don't need a foundation done, Kip is just a really great guy and he has lots of great connections, especially if you're in the Texas area. I'm up here in Colorado, but he's got lots of connections down there in Texas. So reach out to him and connect with him. So how can they reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the easiest way to reach me is I'll put my cell phone in there. I don't care. It's a super easy number to remember. And I'll also put my email address on there. And who knows, you may be getting into the foundation repair as soon as you dial my phone number or text me or catch me up on email. And be careful what you ask for. But I'll tell you what, it is super fun. See the smile on people's faces when their cracks close and their home is finally grounded. It's so awesome. But I know people in the hotel industry, in the travel industry, in the restaurant industry, in so many different introductory and gateway industries that will help you get on your feet to accomplish your dreams.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kip. I really appreciate you. If you are a veteran, or even if you're currently serving and have already started your own business, I'd love to have a conversation with you and see if you might be a good fit for my Military Mondays. And if you found value in this, Kip is amazing. Please share this out to your network so we can get the word out about Kip and his company and his story. I'd really appreciate it. And I will see you next Monday on Military Mondays. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Brenda.
Yep.